Hello there, Battle Brothers, and welcome to another video, and welcome to another review video. Second one today. Ooh, exciting, isn't it? Well then, we are reviewing a short from Warhammer Plus that I subscribed to recently, and I have to say that so far I am quite satisfied and quite content indeed. So the latest review of a Warhammer Plus show that I did was the Angels of Death. Absolutely excited about that. You can check that review, it's on my channel. Now we are reviewing a single episode of the Tithes, which is as of making of this video. There are 3 episodes, and the first one is called The Sacrifice. And I absolutely love these shorts and these mini series. I have to tell you that I'm not a big fan of the idea of Warhammer 40k being made into a movie or a streaming service, Amazon-like show, because I don't want any of my hobbies to get to the hands of the mainstream audiences. Absolutely not. Nothing good can come out of it. Absolutely no. And especially then these days. Do you know what happens when you get your favorite kind of a quote-unquote niche, and calling Warhammer 40k niche is ridiculous, I know, but it kind of still is, because when you give something to the like masses audiences, to the masses, it just gets tainted. And it not only does it get tainted by the fact that it needs to get dumbed down for the mainstream audiences, but also it gets into the hands of grifters, and that's one of the worst things you can possibly imagine. Because I will get to the show, don't worry. Firstly, it'll get to the hands of the people who will suddenly claim that they know everything about it, even though they haven't really touched it ever in their lives. And secondly, it gets into the hands of this kind of YouTubers who just want everything to fail and everything to be horrible, and they will make up things just to put that sour taste in your mouth. And so I have made it my goal to ignore everything once it gets into mainstream. I don't care if it's made by Henry Cavill or not. I'm just going to ignore it. I love these things. It's a very short, enclosed story. This one about 2 Astartes, 2 Space Marines, about a salamander. I'm looking at my notes. Because, I mean, names, again, you read Warhammer 40k novels every day, you watch Warhammer shows, you collect figures, there's a lot of names. So there's a salamander, Sikan, and there's an ultramarine apothecary, and these 2, my dear friends, these 2 are on a mission. This is really an enclosed story. And so they are on a planet which has been invaded by Necrons. So Sikan is the salamander and Brutus is the ultramarine. And one of the tasks that they have to do is, well, there will be spoilers in this review, just a warning. If you don't want this episode to be spoiled for you, just leave now and come back later, once you've watched it. And so one of the tasks that they have to do is to find their battle brothers that disappeared, of course, you know. And it's very probable that they have perished in the hands of the Necrons. And unfortunately, they find them. They have perished, and the apothecary has to retrieve the gene seeds, because that's what you do to deceased Space Marines. If, of course, their body is in such a condition that you can still retrieve the gene seed. And so they are being swamped by the Necrons, and the apothecary is just like hastily collecting the gene seed, and he's apologizing to his deceased battle brothers for, you know, his work being so hasty, while in the meanwhile, Sikan, the salamander, he's watching guards and taking care of the, you know, more and more Necrons that are coming and attacking them. And so the story is very simple. sometimes you have to look at other things, not just at a story, because the story or an idea for a story is the simplest thing to do. As far as like making up something goes, you know, a book, a novella, an episode of a TV show, like thinking of a story goes like this. The presentation and the production and how you do it is all that matters. And so I like very much how they depicted the relationship between the two battle cousins, really. Now they're still battle brothers, but from two different chapters. And how initially, because sometimes there is this little bit of, between certain chapters there is a little bit distrust, or sometimes, you know, they, one chapter criticizes the other for this or that. It's just, it's what it is. But they still all love each other. Well, of course. If we are not talking about the loyalists versus the traitor chapters, then it's something else, right? It's different. But I really like the chemistry that those two had, and then in the end they overcame, you know, their differences and their little struggles and their little arguments. And then a huge spoiler, of course, it's called Sacrifice, because although the like home planets of the chapters are free from tithes to the Imperium, they still have to sacrifice something, and they usually sacrifice their lives. The Ultramarine, Brutus, he sacrifices his life, he perishes. But at the last moment, he gives the Salamander those caskets containing the recently collected gene seed, so he can deliver it to his chapter, to the Ultramarines, and so that the legacy of those deceased Space Marines can live on and continue in the next generation of Space Marines. Very short, it's like, what, 20 minutes. Very well made. I love the animation, I love the action. Very much different from what I saw, you know, the last, with the Angels of Death. More modern-like animation, very like, man, like, today animation, CGI is getting so good. So good, man. It looks, I mean, watching that on a, like, big, huge, humongous TV is, let me tell you, that's something extraordinary. The technology has progressed so much. It really, really looks good. I like the action, especially when they were fighting the Necrons in front of, like, their base on the outside. And the choreography that the animators were able to do is very good. It was an enjoyable little episode. It's, you know, as far as like audio-visual Warhammer 40k and entertainment, that's what I like. You know, I love reading novels, absolutely. But as far as, like, as I said, audio-visual entertainment, I'm fine with this. I'm fine with little short, you know, like self-contained stories that don't really like touch too much, you know, touch the lore too much. It's just, I'm fine having this. I'm really not interested in having some sort of big movie or streaming service franchise made out of it. So only so it gets tainted and dumbed down for the people. Alright, let me know in the comments down below what you think, and I will. Thank you very much for watching, and remember that the Emperor protects.